We are about to start, and we see that the Zoom is connecting to Facebook Live, and we are here. So, Alana, thank you so much for joining me for today's Untruth. I am so excited to have you here.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited. I've been excited all week to just um, to be really just be hopefully be an inspiration to mothers and business owners. And so I'm really excited. Thank you for the partnership.
Yes, thank you so much. And let's just get everybody a little bit accustomed. Let me introduce myself. I am Phillitia Charlton. I am owner and co-owner with Dr. Charles, soon to be Dr. Charlton, of Charlton and Associates. And we are an emotional wellness consulting firm. We specialize in managing, eliminating, and helping people deal with personal and professional issues that impact them in business and as executives and just people in general. And so basically what we mean by humanizing emotional wellness is no longer are the days where we can just leave everything at home and show up at work like nothing's wrong. So we go into organizations and help them deal with conflict negotiation, stress management, and also executive and trauma informed coaching. So Untruth is a platform though where we just bury all of the labels and all of the stereotypes that we have to be everything to everybody and always be on. Untruth is about transparency, it's about vulnerability, and it's about uplifting and supporting one another. So thank you, Alana, for being here with us today. I'm so excited to have you.
Thank you.
Yes. So can you just tell us a little bit about yourself? Because we are in this mode. People are excited to hear from you. And I know that you are a dynamic, phenomenal business owner. You are a professional. You are a mother. You're a lot of different things. But tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Good evening. My name is Alana Williams, and I am a business owner of many things. But I'm also a mother to a 9-year-old young gentleman. I am a professional, and with my businesses, JA Investigative Services, I help businesses reduce hostile conflicts within their environment by addressing issues of workplace harassment, sexual harassment, retaliation, and discrimination. And so my main clients are going to be pretty much any entity, right? And
Mhm.
so that's going to be businesses, it's going to be schools, also have law enforcement where I do a lot of professional development training, dealing with community relations issues. So I like helping people. And so I basically just center my business around what I love to do and what I do well.
Awesome, awesome. And we have been working together for a number of years. We both graduated from the HBCU, the Alabama State University. And Alana, you left out a lot of stuff. And you know, I find this all the time. When we ask people to tell them, I am Alana Williams, and I'm like, girl, tell them you used to be a police officer, you are SHRM certified, you are an autism awareness trainer, you also train on conflict management, sexual harassment, and all kinds of different issues. So she doesn't want to brag, but if you go to her website, which we're going to put in the chat, you will find out the amazing things that she does. And y'all, when I tell you she looks fabulous doing it, check out their website and see what she is
Oh,
wearing.
thank you.
Because when she walks in the room, she means business, but she not bad to look at either. So,
Well,
but
thank you.
today
Thank you very much.
you are very, very welcome. So let's kind of get into this, like relaunch, reloaded. We talked before this, and what brought this about was like we always talk about plan A, but you talked a little bit about your discovery of where you are and why you needed an A, B, C, and a D. So
Mhm.
tell us a little bit about, you told us what you do. Tell us why you do it.
So again, I do it because I have the love and the passion for it. So transitioning from law enforcement after almost 10 years, I realized that I just had a lot of free time. And so this was just a great opportunity to start my business and really just focus on myself. And so that's what I did. And when I started my business, it truly is the best thing that I have done.
Mhm.
It's the hardest thing I can say next to parenthood. It is probably the hardest thing that I have ever had to do. But that's me. One of the biggest things that I've learned with being a business owner, that I was told in the very beginning that it was going to be hard. And so with me understanding that, I knew that I wasn't going to be a overnight success or have clients right away. It took me 2.5 years, but I also made it to my personal goal of 3 years. And so right before COVID happened, again, I reached my goal much more sooner, but COVID happened. So here come COVID of March of 2020, when I had just, received or earned 2 contracts with my business. And all of a sudden now, we're stuck in the house, like, the whole United States, right? With the whole world, right? And so with that being said, I think that's definitely going to be one of my first challenges in addressing, and that's where all this started from, and why I'm reloading, right?
Yes.
It's because I could have done my business, but there was other things that was a priority. Those that know me very well knows that I am a mother to a special needs child, a child that has autism spectrum disorder. And so what that did, one, how people say that it can be a tragedy, but something good comes out of it.
Yes.
So the tragedy of COVID, of people losing their loved ones and family, in my personal journey with COVID, I was able to work from home. So that was a good blessing, work my full-time job. But what that also did was made me have to repeat half of 2nd grade and then all of 3rd grade again with my son. So my son needed me to be physically there with him throughout the day. And so I just had to just focus on, that was the priority, right? That's just what it is. So I just realized between working at ASU full-time and homeschooling him, that it's not, it wasn't good mentally. It wasn't going to be good physically, emotionally, for me to be able to still do my business. So I decided to just take a short hiatus, because we know that when we go through terrible things, it does not last forever. And so, not knowing that it was going to be 1.5 years later, but that's what I did. I suspended all of my services with my business, just so that I can give my son his one-on-one attention, who is a honor roll student, and I'm going to make sure he's that when he goes back to school, right? And so that's where all of this started from, of me starting a business, doing very well, much better than I had expected, and then having to say, you know what, I can still do my business, but my son is going to be the priority right now. And so now that COVID is pretty much getting better, our world is coming back together.
Yeah.
I just had to, I'm not going to say I had to start over. I'm not going to say that, but
Relaunch.
I'm going to say, what you say?
You had to relaunch.
Yeah, I had to relaunch. And so what, again, another thing that really helped me with COVID, even though I wasn't doing my businesses, even though I wasn't out traveling, out training and traveling, right? I got to do a lot of administrative stuff. So one of the things that I wanted to make sure I talked about with everyone is the fact of being able to find something positive that comes out of negative. And so one of mine was being able to do a lot of administrative tasks with my business. So that was really important. So even though I wasn't having that revenue in, I was able to get almost $50,000 in different grants throughout this time. I was able to get
wait, sis. I love you, but you're not gonna fly past 50,000. That's
close.
You're not gonna do. Because you're not going to do that.
Right.
So that is absolutely amazing, because you said a lot, and I want to kind of unpack a few things that you said, but since we started with the 50,000, let's go ahead and talk about that, because one of the things that I want people to be aware of is that you work full time as well, and then you have this thriving business on the side, and then you're dealing with your son, who you chose to lean in with and make and do homework and do math problems with. I know that was fun on the computer, to say the least, and still was able to secure $50,000 in grants. Talk about the mindset that it took to not only relaunch, but to pause and say, okay, what can I do? I know I can't do what I was doing, but how did you get to the point where you were like, this is what I'm going to focus on to still build my business a different way?
Well, the first thing was I had already worked so hard to get where I was at. And so I wasn't going to let that go to waste. But what I do know, which I always say, is that the automatic failure is if I stop. And so I say the first thing is going to be mindset. My mindset of knowing that this is temporary, my mindset of knowing that what else can I do that's going to be a contribute to my business, even though I'm not actually doing other things. And so that was just really important. And so I did a lot of research on finding grants. I found a lot of grants, and that's the reason why they equal what they did. And so now that it's time to relaunch, I have an even bigger business financial stability to now secure more contracts, get more clients and things like that. So the mindset definitely of I'm not a failure. This business is not going to do well if I don't make it do well. And also that the business is a representation of me and my hard work.
That's right.
And so it was just really important for me to say, and also something that was really important is that, you know me, when things kind of go off track, I can get very anxious, right? Sure. And so I can get stuck on that plan A a lot. And so one of my biggest life lessons have been in like really the last 6 months is understanding that when you have to when you have to do something and it's not your control, it's okay. Why spend the time being upset about it, lip poked out about it, and all these negative things when just try to find solutions to overcome them. And so, Phillitia, I have been so, not that I was stressful before, but I'm at a different level of peace in my life, of understanding that I can't control a lot of things. And when I can't control them, just pivot.
Yeah.
Have a plan B. Have a plan B. It is what it is, instead of just getting frustrated about it. And so that in a sense is allowing me to get more work done, because it's just like, oh, well, what can I do next?
I love that. And you talked about something. One of the things I want to say about your $50,000 in grants, a couple of things. I want you to talk about your certifications, because a lot of people want to do what you're doing. They want to have a business. They want to make money, because we talked about grants. We didn't talk about profit, and we're not. But you, like you said, your business was thriving and doing well. Within 2 years, you had major clients. Then on top of that, you gained grants. Let's talk about the structure, because a lot of people get frustrated. They want business, they desire business, but they don't know how to set up business and don't invest in that. So tell me a little bit about how you set this up, and tell me about your certifications in building your business to be someone that people wanted to talk to and call.
So first of all, and I'm trying not to laugh because maybe I'll go into it later and maybe not, but when it comes to certifications, you have to be able to back up your product, right? You represent your product. And so when you're sitting up here and telling someone that your rate is X amount of dollars for an 8-hour rate and they gas, that's okay, because I can back that up, right? And so when you're talking about certifications, it's very important to look at what specialized training is out there to elevate you in what you're selling. So when people ask questions in a room of like the class conference that I did, they had 320 or 330 participants, of principals, right? Of educator and board members. So when they got to answering questions, I needed to be able to answer every last question that they asked me and answer them correctly. And so being able to represent your product in a way of, what you're talking about, because when you put LLC on the back of something, you are now a liability, right? And so you have to be able to prepare yourself. And so that's what I did. Investing in yourself is so important. Depending on what you're going in business, it takes a lot of different finances, right? Mine take a lot because I need a lot of office supplies. I need a lot of mailings to go out, advertising and things like that. And so I had to just be willing to invest in myself financially. I had to be willing to invest in different certifications. I had to be willing to invest in different associations. During this time, I became a SHRM provider, where now anybody that knows who SHRM is the world largest HR professional association. I'm one of their providers. Now I get to provide training specifically for them. I became a nationally certified instructor through IADLS, which allows me now to teach at any police academy throughout the United States. So invest in yourself, right? Invest in yourself to open so that other larger opportunities can come about.
And I just think that is so important. And I thank you for pausing to share that step, because $50,000 is nothing to sneeze at, especially for anyone, but especially for a small business owner. And so I just want people to know, like, well, how did she do that? No one was hiding anything. You went ahead and you met those qualifications and credentials, and you were able to secure that. So congratulations in a pandemic. So congratulations. And a lot of people can, yes, girl, a lot of people can learn from that. So that was one of the pieces that you talked about. The other piece was in order to get to where you are in this moment, the piece that you talked about, how were you able to say, you know what, I got to pause my business? Because most people think that when you pause your business, like everything's going to shut down, and a fear can come over you to feel like, oh my gosh, I got this far and now I'm at home with my son in front of a computer. Right. So talk about what it took for you to say, I gotta relaunch because I am exhausted.
So I was exhausted coming from the fact that I had to make a change due to COVID, and it was something that was unexpected. And so when my world changed, right, my priorities changed. And so when you're talking, I just assumed like, oh, I'm gonna set my computer up next to him, turn the dining room into a home school for him, and I'm just gonna do work all day while he's doing his work on home. No, it didn't work like that, because I realized that he needed to be focused. He needed a lot of direction. And so the first thing is that I had to mentally prepare myself that this is going to be the priority and there's no other way. And so that in itself allowed me to say not to put the stress on myself about not doing the business. My type of personality, I already knew that I'm not going to fail, not because of something that I did, because I just have a go-getter attitude and a go-getter work ethic. And so I can be honest and say I didn't necessarily have a fear of stopping and starting back up. It was more feeling maybe a little anxiety, just the fact that I had momentum and now I just have to stop.
Yes. And I completely respect that. And through our training, we don't stop, we pause, right? And so there's power in our pause. We have things in life that are going to change. Like you just said, the world changed. It wasn't your choice, but you had to adapt in order to get your peace. And so there's power in your pause. And during that pause, you were reloading. You didn't shut down, you chose to reload. Because of who you are. And this is not a competition. Everybody's different. We're giving you options. And if you want to know how, this is just another strategy of how somebody still was able to grow their business while taking a step back, pausing and relaunching and reloading. So I just want to say thank you for your vulnerability and your transparency. I'm learning so much from you right now. So I want to hear a little bit about navigating your new normal, just steps that were vital to your adjustment to this piece that you have and that you're learning to make your normal.
So my new normal, one is going to be increasing prayer. And I've always had a spiritual sense. I've always said my prayer, but I noticed also in the last year that my prayers have become more specific. Okay. But also my prayers have become more thankful. And so sometimes I would have to say in my prayer, Lord, I'm not going to ask you for anything. I'm going to say thank you. I'm saying thank you for X, Y, and Z, right? So that's definitely, that was definitely my first step. And another major life lesson that I learned, not even at the beginning of COVID, but learning more so now in the last 6 months, is that if I'm going to pray about it, it makes no sense to turn around and worry about it.
Okay, now.
It's that simple.
So
it's that faith. It's having faith in your personal relationship with God to understand that your blessings are going to be answered. And then the beauty of my relationship with God is that when he answers them, he's going to answer them in a way that they're much bigger and magnified than what I even expected. Right? We just talked about that last week, right? About a major lesson that came over me. And it was like, wait a minute. When I intentionally started praying about it, and something that you point on when I called you, I said, hey, I wanted to share this faith testimony with you. I realized that in that blessing, I didn't have to do anything.
Yes.
I had to sit and wait on it. But what I did do, I prayed about it. I had faith about it. Okay. And God literally showed me without doing anything and moved pieces around in my life and said, here you go. And so, but one thing I realized with that is that because my spirituality is so much different, it's more heightened, is that for me, when I can say that I'm on a spiritual journey. And because of my spiritual journey, I have a closer relationship with God. And so one of the things that I also learned is that when you're being obedient, right? When you're being obedient, you're going to see your blessings. And even when you're going through challenges, you tend to hear God clear, more, you hear him faster, more clear because of your current relationship. And so I definitely contribute all of that to my new normal. It's definitely started with my prayer and faith. And then it started with, okay, now this is plan B. It's time to implement, because I've had a year and a half to plan, right? I had a year and a half to plan for this moment, Fee. And so now it's just a matter of implementing.
Yep, absolutely. And so one of the things that I love that you touched on was with your blessing, being prepared to receive the blessing. Being prepared, because if you're not prepared to receive it, you're not going to see it as a blessing. You might see it as a burden. And I think,
look, you about to get me emotional, don't you?
No, we are, you know, Untruth. We cry in Untruth now.
Oh God.
If you're not prepared for the blessing, you might see it as a burden. And I'm speaking, when I speak to you, I speak to me, but tell me what's coming up for you right now.
So you remember about 3 weeks, about 3 weeks ago, we was doing one of our sessions, and one of the 2 contracts that I had secured, I voluntarily chose not to renew, right? Yes. And I chose not to renew it because I understand that all money is not good money.
Hello.
And so even though the money was absolutely fantastic and then some, I decided not to renew it because they actually want to say, hey, well, we pretty much we're going to own you. You're going to do it under our name, right? You're going to fly our logo. You can't do anything outside of the state. I said, hold up, wait a minute now. Okay. And so I had to recognize the value of myself and to be able to say, you know what, this is not going to work for me, right? And so just being able to understand, the value of what I bring, right? And what I'm going to represent is going to be, it's just really important.
It is so huge. And I thank you for saying that and telling like that all money is not good money. That's why you have money, because you don't take it from everywhere, because sometimes the immediate gratification is not bigger than what's coming. And so as business owners and small business owners and people who are new to business, sometimes we can be anxious, right? But from a spiritual perspective, it says be anxious for nothing. And so I know that I have suffered in deals that I did not and should not have even touched because I didn't pray about it. I just wanted to continue to grow. And so I've learned, and we've had plenty of conversation about all money is not good money. And therefore you can recognize when you have good opportunities. So I just thank you for sharing that part of your testimony. I think that's absolutely phenomenal.
Thank you. And can I just say one other thing in reference to that?
Yes.
Is that walking away from their contract negotiation didn't feel right. It truly didn't. And you know that, right? Because I talked to you over a year ago about it. It didn't feel right. And I was even going to take it because I really hadn't thought it through, right? Because it was about the zeros behind it, right? So I was still going to take it. But when I realized, it wasn't until at 12 hours before I said, you know what? I'm going to walk away from this because there's bigger and better, right? And I told you, I texted you later, I said, you know what? I decided to walk away from the contract and I actually feel at ease, right? 12 hours later, 12, not even 12 hours later, I wake up the next day about 10 a.m. to an email from, let's just say a national organization that has international connections, asking me to serve as a subject expert in the field of community relations. And so when God closed that door, and I was completely okay with it because I had prayed for his guidance and what I needed to do. And so all I kept saying was like, I knew that it was going to be replaced. And so the next day I get an email telling me, hey, we want you to be our subject matter expert on this. And then less than a week later, another person in the same organization working on a national grant asked me to do another project with them. And so it's just for me, it's just it was just having faith in what you pray for, but also just having faith in yourself and what you can accomplish. And just being able to do it on your own terms is really important.
It's extremely important. And it's like people get on here and I'm like, I thought we were talking about relaunching and reloading. We're talking about the mindset that it takes to build and grow a business. It is not just paperwork and documentation. Of course, you want to have your paperwork in order, but if your mindset is out of order and you're not grounded, your business is going nowhere fast.
You know what? Definitely. And I'm a prime example of that because even when my son went back to school in April, right? In my mind, I kept saying, April the 5th is on. I'm about to start doing this. I didn't move from my couch until mid-May. I was emotionally, I actually had no energy. Not that I didn't have a desire, I just knew I was tired. And in my current physical state, my current mental state, I couldn't put my best foot forward. And so I sat around and remote control flicked. And to that moment, I knew that, hey, it's time to get back at it. You have rest long enough. Let's get it. And that's what I did.
And so I think that's important too, because I noticed some things are going on in the chat. I think that it's so important to understand you have to assess where you are. It's not going to be the same because the world changes and our circumstances changes and our needs change, but assessing where you are and giving yourself permission to rest, not out of fear, but just because your body needs it. It's like, I can't do everything all the time at full speed and still produce quality work. I can't. I know I can't.
Right.
And so I think one of the things we talk about in business is quote unquote bossing up, but part of that is understanding who you are emotionally, mentally, physically, and spiritually. And physically, if your body is exhausted, you have to listen to it. Because once again, I know we've heard this, but you cannot pour from an empty cup. So even if the opportunity came, you would have been too exhausted to take advantage of the opportunity. So Alana, you know, we talked, a lot of this is from the Banking Your Brand module that we talked about, because we built the brand, right? We learned what the brand was and how to define it, how to make sure it was tight on paperwork, get your paperwork right and tight.
Yep.
I know you don't play with the paperwork. I think you turned some sessions on me when you started like, hey, do you have your, I'm like, hold up. So we definitely support one another, but in banking your brand, I think people heard some unique things because they didn't expect rest. They didn't expect pause. They didn't expect focus on your family, and they probably didn't expect focusing spiritually on God. And then you started to see the fruits of your labor.
It definitely comes together. But when you're talking about assessing where you at, you help me with that. You help me guide through that, because I know I could have got through it without you, but see, you helped me get through it faster. Right. So you were able to, and one thing I've always said about you, like, you're a fixer, right? So one of the things I absolutely love working with you is that whenever I have a problem, right, you always give me not just, oh, Alana, you need to do it this way. You always say, Alana, try this, or even pick one. And you always tell me, I'm not going to make the decision for you. And so you're able to just be able to navigate through that. You were able to always help me with problem solving, because sometimes I do well with problem solving, but you just have a natural gift and be able to think outside the box, right? And then also you always tell me, Alana, you're thinking more emotional than I am. And so my response is, you would give me a response. I was like, oh, but I knew that. But I let my emotions control it. And so just being able to assess where I'm at is really, really important, because the ultimate goal is, for me, is business success. I remember you got on me a long time ago. I was like, I can't wait till my business be successful. Wait a minute, you already successful, you know? And it was that in my head, I have 1,000,001 other things on my to-do list. Yeah, so I wasn't feeling successful.
Literally, guys.
Like literally.
Right. She add 10 more when some come off.
But oh my goodness. That is probably one of the biggest misconceptions that I didn't understand about business, because I assumed that once I presented my product, that was it. I didn't have anything to do. But because of the great quality in the product that I present, I'm like, hey, I want to work with HR managers. So when I put out this great product, a guidance counselor in Lamb High School seen it and said, wait a minute, you're doing workplace harassment. I need you to come and talk about bullying. Right. And so it's like when you put into your product, right, it is going to open other opportunities, or bigger opportunities, or more opportunities. So
and that's why we're here today. We're here to help other women who are just like, how are you doing that? How do you have clients? How do you connect with other like-minded women? And to your point, everything last year, and it started in 2019 for me, was intention. Setting the intention first, not focusing on what you don't have, but like you said it too, gratitude and intention. I got to be grateful for where I am. If you don't have everything set up, do you have what you do have set up? Is it set up well? So finish something, add something else, but don't act like nothing matters, because if you try to do everything at once without doing things in excellence, things will fall apart. It doesn't mean they can't be fixed, because anything can be fixed. Anything can be rejuvenated. Anything can be relaunched and reloaded and banked. And we can take that to the bank, literally, with receipts. But the mindset is understanding and assessing where you are, being able to pause, listen to your mind, and also seek outside help. I know that we have the internet, but for guys, the internet overwhelms me. I am a researcher. Alana is, I thought I was a researcher. Alana is a researcher of the researcher. But sometimes we need to pause and get with somebody, a coach, a colleague, somebody who, a mentor, absolutely. A therapist.
Small business administration center.
Yes.
If there's one, I mean, there's what, 10 to 15 throughout the state of Alabama. They have been, one happens to be on the campus of Alabama State University. They have been instrumental in this last year and a half for me with different trainings and programs. So
if you're a small business, there's no reason why you should not have been in contact with the SBA, because you don't have to figure this out by yourself. No one's hiding the information. And so what happens is you might not know everything. You see a grant and you don't have some of the requirements, mark those requirements and then call the SBA. And then figure it out, get with the counselor, and it might not be, you're going to have to, it's a process. So you might not find the right person the first time, but advocate for yourself. Like Alana said, speak up for yourself, continue to do your research, and then you can start checking those boxes off. And one of the boxes that I check off as well is I am a trauma-informed emotional wellness coach. And so I do business coaching, executive coaching. I started doing that first. But what I noticed with my clients is that we always end up talking about personal things and how they affect you professionally. And so the mindset work, I said, let me level up here. I'm a person who I believe that people have natural gifts and natural talents, but like Alana's point, I want to make sure that I'm servicing you to the best of my ability and I'm able to give you strategies beyond my experiences. So I leveled up, got my certified trauma-informed certificate from the International Foundation of Coaching. And I was able to really work with my clients to talk about your mindset, because your mindset and how you deal with adversity and conflict affect how you manage your business.
Yes. And let me piggyback on this. When I first started working with you, you did was it 30 ways or 60 ways? Was it 60 ways?
30 days, 60 ways to fight fear.
Yeah, 60 ways to fight fear in 30 days, right?
Yes.
So when I joined it,
and that's coming back.
Okay. Because that was a great, we had a great group going on. And so what I realized is that people that was in the group with us, they were there personal. I went to the group for business. It's always been business. And so what I realized in our first session, I said after we did our reflection after our first session, like, wait a minute, all of my business challenges are stemming from personal challenges.
That's good.
And I didn't know that. It all works together.
It does.
It all works together. And so when I realized that it's not about me working with you just business, it's a lot of things about what we're used to, what our mentality is, what our fears are. And so when we're able to understand that that's what we have as an individual, as a man or female, right? When we understand that those are things that embody us, they're going to play out in our marriage. They're going to play out in our parenting, our career, our goals. And so that was one of the things I was like, wait a minute. In session 2, I was like, then it got real personal for me, because I was like, it's not even about business. Yeah. But you helped me. And that was another thing, Phillitia. I didn't even know that I had fears.
I remember. And it wasn't just you. A lot of people say, I don't have no fears. I said, well, okay.
Oh, right.
I do. And I'm a coach. So, and it was that process, because we're taught not to. We're taught we cannot say we fear. But the thing is, it's feeling the fear and acknowledging the fear and doing it anyway. But it's not to ignore it. Because when we ignore it, it's just in the background anyway, talking and yelling at us and stopping us from doing things. So that facing fear is about looking it in the face, getting real with it, and then breaking it down like, oh my gosh, these things that I'm afraid of, or these things that I don't want to confront, because I allow you to call it what you want to. You don't have to use the word fear. You can call it blocks, but it's stopping something from doing what it need to do. And so that was one of the issues that a lot of us had in that course, was like, let's get over the terminology. What don't you have because your mind is keeping you stuck in a certain place? Do we all agree to that?
I agree.
Yeah, yes. And I respect that. And I'm very patient with that, because I didn't understand. I don't subscribe to fear. I can't tell based on your actions and based on the conversation you're having. And I know I'm not for everybody, because I do tell the truth.
Girl, I like that.
Well, because we can get into this because we're talking about banking your brand as we begin to wrap this conversation up. But you talked about $50,000 in grants. We have not talked about your bottom line, but you earned a profit as a consultant. But when we first started, you was trying to charge people. I don't even know what.
Oh, yeah.
Let's talk about banking your brand, sis. Because your brand was not bank, it was bankrolled in pennies.
Right.
That's
you're
how you're
gonna charge what for you to do what and not, no, you're not. I was like, huh? And
because we fear money.
Yeah, and I fear rejection.
Yes. Yep.
I fear rejection of someone saying a professional development course. You know, I was like, this is not this no, I can't charge them that. They're not gonna pay for that, right? Mm-hmm. And then one of the things we talk about a lot that I'm really realizing is that, yeah, I have my businesses, I have my services, but people pay to see you.
That's right.
They want you to deliver the service. Yes. And so that was very important. And then it's just a matter of I knew, because that's one of the things in just life I do well. I could build a program in my sleep, right? A community project, anything in my sleep, right? That's just a passion I have. And so it was just like, I had to understand and I had to look back and say, wait a minute, it took me a year to build this course, right? It took a lot of research, right? It took a lot of money to go into that. And so it was just a matter of being able to say, I'm going to bring a quality product. I am going, and what am I going to do for you? I'm just not telling you information. How am I going to reduce the number of workplace harassment complaints, right? Yes. How am I going to decrease the number of people that don't even report this? It's about action. So it was about you made me see, I was going in looking at like, oh, I'm just telling them information. And you said, no, as a consultant, you have to be able to solve a problem. And that's why you're charging the amount of money that you are, because you're solving their problem. And I said, oh yeah, you're right. I am doing that, huh? But that was something I learned. I was in professor mode of just teach, right? Yeah, that worked. I had to learn how to say, hey, this is what this contract is. If you like the service, that's great. If not, I just delete the invoice out of QuickBooks. It's that simple. It's very true. It is very true. And lastly, I want to say to you, one of the things about banking your brand that we learned, and you said this earlier, is investing in yourself. Like I've had a business coach for over a year high level, amazing business coach, Shanice M. Wise. She's amazing and she does a great job. And she helped me because she had a business coach, and she graduated from Ohio State as well in business and marketing, and has a successful business. And so when people say, I want to pick your brain, it's like, I paid to develop this skill set. It was not through osmosis and just natural talent. I do have some things that I'm really good at, but I didn't know business. And I had to be humble enough to say, I don't know business. And it's okay that I didn't know some of those things, but as I learn them with my clients, you're getting what I paid for. Mm-hmm. So why would I not? And she asked me this, and she'd be proud of me right now, because she said, you should not be charging any less than what I'm charging you. She said, at least, because they're getting everything I'm telling you, and you're paying for that. So if you want to know where those things come from, I just decided, saved, been blessed, put aside, and did some things differently so that I could make an investment in my business, so that I could learn what I did not know and be humble enough about that. Mm-hmm. It's not so much it's not a competition about certifications or degrees or anything, but can you really stand by your brand, not just physically, but on paper as well, and intellectually as well. And so you can't bank what you don't invest in and what you don't put value and stock in. So I think that that's really important for women and in business. It's true for everybody, but you're a woman. So, and I am as well. And I just think that it's really important when we say, oh, that cost a lot. But the person that you're looking at, you like them because they made the investment. Mm-hmm. And if you aspire to do what they're doing or be a part of that,
be humble enough to say, well, what did you do? You don't have to pick that person at all, but you can watch some of the things that they did and pick the people, plans, and programs that are right for you.
And that's important, because even though I know my subject matter, I had to teach myself how to be a business owner, the administrative part. And so I have had friends since then contact me and say, hey, how did you get your LLC? How did you get your insurance? How another thing that I'm really proud of is looking into minority business certifications.
Yes.
So when you're contracting with state governments and federal governments, those are important. I've gotten in different things like that. And just really being able to say, I'm going to invest in so many things that's going to show my quality, because that's really important, but stand behind that. And one of the things that you get, I haven't learned this yet. It is what it is. I ain't learned this yet. But you get on me a lot because you tell me, Alana, everybody doesn't run their business like you do. They're not going to do that. They're not as professional as you. So I have a black and white personality when it comes to that. You're either going to do it right or do it, don't even get me started. You're just going to do it right, period. If you contact me, I'm going to email, I'm going to respond back to your phone call before the end of the day. I'm going to respond back to emails and follow-ups, and whatever deadline I give you, I'm going to meet it, right? But when you sitting up here, you're working with other people, and I'm like, wait a minute, this what we doing?
Yeah.
That's not how you treat a paying client, which is me, first of all, but that's not how you conduct business. And so I just thought it, for me, it's part of my personality, but it was also important because I'm going to represent my brand, and my clients see that. Absolutely. My clients see that. And they tell me, well, if you build something else new or you come up with another curriculum, let me know. We will bring you back to us.
Absolutely. And lastly, I just want to say, as a point that came out of what you said, don't be afraid to have high standards. It goes back to not operating out of desperation, but operating out of faith. So don't be afraid to turn something down just because you just got started. And also don't be afraid to make mistakes, because that's how we learn. Because I know some things that you learned along the way, you won't do again.
I won't.
Man, Alana, you have been absolutely amazing. I'm just so grateful for you being on this Untruth today. It's so many nuggets in this chat right now. If anybody is in the chat, when people are in there, can you just tell us who you are, what you do, how you heard about Alana, any questions or information, anything you want to ask her, because she'll go back after this is over and go back to those comments. But I want to ask you, we just got Untruth with Alana, JA Solutions, amazing company. Website needs to be in the chat. We're going to make sure, and we can put that in there. Alana, don't start typing it. We'll put it we'll get it in there of how to get in contact with you so they can check you out and see if they need any of your services. But before we tell them about that, do you have an Untruth question for me? And I don't know if you do or where it came from or what you got. And then we'll go into our giveaway.
Okay, an Untruth question?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say necessarily a question, but one of the things I would love for you to expound on, because it was something that we talked about in one of our recent session, and that's really, and we talked about it a little, but the key word is value. Keywords: value yourself, right? So I would love for you to give any type of inspiration or untruth about valuing yourself as an entrepreneur, as a mother. You're a national education award winner, educator. Just what I think is very important, because you're very inspirational to me. Thank you so much. And I say in a lot of my chats, hashtag she upgrades me, because you do. It is what it is, right? And so I just, what can you give the audience in reference to maybe just valuing their self? And I know, again, you work with me more business-wise, but a lot of your clients in your school contracts and stuff you deal with a lot of personal things that are going on, whether it's marriage, whether it's spirituality or emotional, whatever it may be. But just share your thoughts about valuing yourself. And you sent me the link about the young lady, and I forgot the school, but basically it was the tenure issue. Yeah. And she had to fight so long for something that was rightfully hers, that when they finally gave it to her, she said, no, thank you, and went to Howard University. And so that was a conversation you and I had, because after that contract issue, that was something that came up. So again, it was just so motivating for me. So if you could just tell them, words of advice about valuing themselves and putting themselves first.
Yes. So, and getting a little bit of untruth with me is, I was afraid to start my business because I didn't think anybody would believe in it. I had become really good at being a principal, and now people don't even remember that I was a principal, which was part of my redefining, rebranding myself. So one of the things that I think is important as you get untruth with yourself is don't be afraid to admit what you love. Some people think that what they love is stupid. Nobody will believe in it. But the truth is you don't believe in it. And you're not even giving anyone an opportunity to see whether or not they will believe in it, because you're operating out of a fear of rejection, a fear of failure. And you're also operating out of an inability, you're not paused, you're stopped. And so some advice I would give to you is really sit with yourself and think about, what do I love? And is what I love present in my life? And if what I love is not present in my business and personal life, it is my responsibility to take ownership of that. So that is not your husband's, not your ex, not your baby mama, baby daddy, lover, partner, whomever, not your job, not the college you attended. It is your responsibility to show up for yourself, sit with yourself, and ask yourself, is what I love present in my life? And if it's not present in your life, it is up to you to begin to put it in your life personally and professionally.
Wow. Wow. Now y'all see why I love her. Y'all see why I love working with her.
And
wow.
It's just, and I have to, and that's not a one-time question. That's a reevaluation. That's a relaunch question, right? Because your business has pivoted. We've been through different phases where you don't offer stuff you used to offer. You started a whole different bit. This is not the business you started.
I forget about that.
I bet you did. I did not. I was there when you was printing out all them papers at the courthouse, but yeah.
Right.
So, but it was okay because you were able to say, you know what, Phillitia,
that's not what I want to do. Right. That's not what I want to do. And what she's referring to is my investigation agency, which I actually do.
Yeah.
So, when I went live, I didn't even have to advertise. So I started getting all these phone calls about infidelity, right?
Yeah, of course.
My girlfriend cheating and vice versa, right? And one day I'm gonna write a book or just based off the phone calls that I received to this day, even though I no longer provide that service. Mm-hmm. But I realized in the first 6 months that that's drama in their life that I did not want in my life, and nor did I have the desire or really the capability of a single mom to be out here following somebody at 3 o'clock in the morning, right? And I'm laughing only because, because I was like, okay, wait a minute, do I need to change my name? My business name? But I called you like, I can't, if I get another, to this day, I still get phone calls, and I'll be like, ma'am, did you say that on my website? When I do other investigation services.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
And that's part, and then we're laughing, but my business didn't start off like this either. So the pivot is so important. The pivot is important because you still got the foundation. You still got the base, but don't be afraid to Rubik's Cube that thing out until it starts matching on each side. So
make it work for you. Make it work for you.
So y'all, we just got Untruth with Alana, and she's going to do, before we get off of here, she has a drawing that she's going to do because she loves to give. She's an amazing person, and every time she gets and as she grows, she always gives. So tell us about this drawing.
Okay, well, first, I'm not on Facebook, so I can't see you. So if you can kind of tell how many people we have watching. So what we can do is
I can tell who's in the chat, but I can't see who's watching.
Okay.
Yeah, but go ahead.
So basically, how many people do we have right now?
Oh, like I said, I can see different names in the chat, but people are watching that are not in the chat. So if you want to be recognized, put your name in the chat. If you want to be a part of the drawing.
Yeah, you have 15 seconds to put your name in the
chat. Yep, on Facebook Live. If you want to be a part of this drawing for a free gift or prize from Alana, make sure you drop your name so that we know that you're here, because the way this is set up, we can't see.
Okay, it looks like we have. Okay, so it looks like we have 7 people.
Okay.
So you 7 people, 8. I don't know where the 8 one came. So let's do this. What I'm going to do is I am it's 7 now, but let's do this, because I can go back to this, right?
Yeah,
I'll be able to go back to this. So everybody that is on live right now with us is going to get a $50 gift card.
Well, I'm on live. Do I get?
So put your email
in the same. Y'all just got blessed. That's how you get blessed. I didn't even know she was doing that.
It just came to mind. Because I'm like, because you remember, I was like, am I
gonna get it?
I'm gonna this 9th person you you're not getting one, because that's an extra $50 I have to pay you, and it's just
we got the mark that this happened. So this is 8.
No. So for everyone now, put your email address, and I promise you all, I will contact you all. Okay. Put your email address, and I am going to send you all a $50 gift card. Okay.
That's amazing.
Thank you so much for sharing. It looks like Jonathan is with us.
Yes, hey Jonathan.
Cynthia Caldwell, and I want to say for sure, Cynthia and Tommy, I noticed that you all have been sharing my the advertisement. So thank you so much for that. So please, who else, Fee, do we have here?
I see Cynthia and Jeffries. I believe it's Shanique. I'm sorry. Okay. And my name is Phillitia, and I'm sorry if I messed up yours.
Okay.
So I see Cynthia, I see Jeffries, I see Jonathan, I see Tommy in here. Jonathan, like, hey, he making sure. He said, we got you, Jonathan. You are in the building. And those are the names that came up so far with email addresses that.
Okay, so going once, going twice, put your email address, and I will send you all a $50 gift card for just tuning in. And just
Kimberly slid in. Kimberly Rucker is slid in. She like, I've been here. Hey.
Right. So everybody done turned on their camera now, like, hold up, let me get it.
Yeah, listen, we are having a good time, but honestly, guys, this has been a wonderful Untruth. Alana is who she says she is. She is professional. She is great. She has gratitude, and she is a giver and a server, and that is why her business has profited. And I just thank you so much for sharing and your generous gift to everybody that's out there. What you can give to her is she's going to tell you what she does, and if what you can give to her is if you need her help, if your business or organization needs it and you're ready to make the investment, put her name out there. Share her with organizations, professional organizations that you are part of, companies and corporations. So Alana, tell us your services one more time, and then we are out of here.
Okay, so I just put the website in the chat. Okay, so everyone, and I actually know everyone here, so I could definitely get in contact with you. But good, thank you all so much. Well, thank you, Phillitia, for this. It's been a great opportunity for me to reload and relaunch my businesses. Again, I help businesses mitigate risk of hostile behaviors. So with HR people, I do workplace harassment. I do EEO investigations. I'm a certified EEO investigator. I can do workplace culture assessment and specialized services for your schools. With my police background, I can do bullying prevention, sexting, cyberbullying, bullying, special needs students.
Yes.
So I'm really excited about that. One of my very, very favorite, with those who know me, is going to be my autism awareness training for law enforcement. But one of the things that we talked about as a relaunch, again, every time I feel like I'm finished, I add a new program. But what I'm going to do now, because, you know, with my son having autism, I was focusing on police officers because that's what I know. So now I'm about to start services to where if you serve the public, I am designing a 2-hour class specifically on how to interact with someone that may have any type of intellectual development disability.
Wow.
Okay, so what this does, because these individuals tend to have indicators. And so once you realize that these are indicators, you can then possibly be more patient. You can possibly ask them a question a different way. And so I'm going to service that to, think about it, banks, restaurant training. And that's a new service that I'm really proud of. And then again, I have some great opportunities that possibly can turn into international opportunities with my law enforcement training. So I'm really excited about that. I am so blessed. I am just so blessed. And for everyone that's here, thank you very much. And thank you, Phillitia, for not making me cry.
I did not. You got close. But yeah, this has been great. Guys, we're going to relaunch this in the morning. So if you want to listen to it again and you missed it, we'll relaunch it in the morning so you can have it on your way to work. We're also going to take some clips of this too, and you'll be seeing clips of this in my story and on different posts and stuff. And Alana will be back because she has some great, we intersect in some trauma work. And as she talked about some of the trauma that's inflicted upon people with special needs because people don't know how to deal with them, we're going to talk about that. You just brought up another segment that we're going to do. So thank you for joining us. We just got Untruth, y'all. Thank you. You guys have a great evening.
Thank you all. Thank you. Have a blessed evening.